Are you healing from trauma or childhood trauma or unresolved trauma that has caused deep wounds or difficulty with emotional regulation? Not just not knowing what to do with them, but why trauma hits so deep. The heavy aftermath of it seems to take too long to heal, or the wounds just keep reopening back up. There is a reason for this. And what I'm going to teach you about it is going to blow your mind. The reason why people have such difficulties with emotional regulation is because we honestly have been lied to about what emotions truly are. We have been lied to. Deceived, bamboozled, and hoodwinked. Woo, about what emotions actually are. Today, I am going to break apart that lie and tell you the truth. I'm not only going to tell you what exactly emotions actually are, but I'm going to teach you what to do with them, what you're supposed to actually be doing with emotion, what God intended. What is the purpose? What do emotions actually serve in our life? Why did the Most High allow us to have emotions? Especially, this is important if you're healing from trauma or living with disability due to anything traumatic that happened in your life. And you're trying to heal. You're trying to heal from the aftermath of the trauma. You're living with disabilities. Perhaps you're in a wheelchair. Heart disease. Perhaps your disability is invisible in nature, like heart disease or one of the dysautonomias. Maybe you're living with mental illness due to the effects of trauma, being raped, losing a child. You have depression. You have PTSD. This is more than important because of emotional regulation. And you're going to psychiatrists and psychologists who are trying to tell you to control your emotions. And it's not entirely right. It's wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. We have been lied to, deceived, bamboozled, and hoodwinked. And it's time to set the record straight about what emotions actually are. We're going to talk about what trauma is, how it causes those inner wounds, and how deep those inner wounds can actually get. Those wounds, people say that trauma is not measurable. I'm going to tell you why that is also wrong. Trauma, the wounds that trauma causes, the deep wounds, they are measurable. I used to be a wound nurse. Hospice and geriatrics. I was aerovac, did the helicopter. We're going to talk about these wounds and how these emotions become our biggest triggers and how these emotions get these triggers to reopen these wounds. What we're supposed to do when that happens. How it affects our energy when we're trying to heal. What to do about that. And the ninth thing is how to have real control to improve the quality of your life. And this, my friends, this is going to surprise you. These 9 lessons are crucial to anyone's process of healing, especially when it comes to healing from trauma. I'll be teaching you this as a minister, an ordained bishop of interfaith. Also, as a retired nurse, close to 30 years of nursing, and as someone who is educated with philosophy in theology and clinical pastoral psychology. Not only that, I am a mother of 4. I have 3 girls and 1 son. And I have grandchildren. So altogether I have 13 children. Lots of practice there. I'll also be teaching you this as someone who has been through some, what I like to call, serious trauma. If somebody's ever told you not to use the word serious trauma, just ignore it. There is such thing as serious trauma. Hitting your toe could be traumatic, especially if you break it, right? You might have to be on crutches for a long time. It can mess your whole world up. It could be traumatic for some people, but losing your whole foot, I mean, come on. Can you really say that there's no difference there? You're going to walk away from this with your mind a balloon. But in a good way. And it's going to create positive change, things that will make all the difference in your healing journey and improving the quality of your life while living with disability. To us here, this is important. To us here at the Awakening of Phoenix, Living with Disability Healing, phoenixhealingministries.org. Look, medicine in all forms. I don't care, be it psychiatry, psychology, internal medicine, even physics or neurology, okay? They are all complementary therapies to spirituality, okay? Spirituality didn't come from medicine, okay? To us, spirituality is what inspired medicine to begin with. So I just wanted to make that clarity to you so that you can have an understanding as to why there is a mix between medicine and spirituality here. But trust me when I say at the end of this, it is all going to come full circle. And it's not going to take away. If it takes anything away, it's going to be the lies. It's going to be the lies that are corroding you from the inside, because that's what lies do. You're going to walk away from feeling not just empowered, but you're going to have actual tools and understanding that will help you literally move on, break any silence that's corroding you from the inside too, and move on from any trauma, whatever they did to you. You're going to have a better understanding of the healing process so you can see where you are. And you'll have a better understanding to how deep your wound is. If you're having trouble healing it, you're going to be able to dispel that. You're going to be able to pick up the pieces and build again. You're going to see that you now don't have to any longer survive. You were a victim. And it's okay that you were a victim. It's not your fault. You were a victim. You learned how to survive. And now it's time for you to live. Let's get started. We're going to start with emotions and wounds and the 4 stages of healing wounds. So there's 4 stages, whether it's something on your body or something inside. Traumatic wound that is physical, like your elbow or knee that got scraped, or you were betrayed. Your best friend slept with your husband. Or like the inner wounds. There are 4 stages to the process of healing, and to understand how it happens. To explain it, I'll give you the most common example. I just said, like you were a child, you fell off your bike. You were hitting it hard too, Nobody can pedal as fast as you. You fall playing outside, scraped your knee. It hurt bad, right? You were a child. And it was bleeding. The skin is serrated and opened up, right? It turns red, inflamed, painful. You're bleeding everywhere. And dirt got in the wound because you hit the ground hard, right? And although it's painful, this is actually the beginning of healing. You see, you don't even have to do anything. You see what I'm saying? Healing begins automatically. You're going to understand as I go further with this. Even with trauma. Let me further explain, because it didn't take long for that wound to scab over, right? You start getting the scab on the same day, depending on how deep the wound is, right? Well, the same happens with all wounds, even traumatic wounds. And I'm going to prove this to you. God created your first step to healing built in you. The first stage has already begun. You literally don't have to do anything. They say take the first step to healing. I'm going to explain to you right now why the first step was already made for you. And the first stage to healing any wound is called hemostasis. Stage 1, hemostasis, is your body's natural reaction to an injury that stops bleeding and repairs the damage. This capability is usually for your benefit. Conserving blood and preventing infection. The most important thing to know is that stage 1, and any stages really, the most important thing to know is that, as in rare cases, stage 1, this process won't work like it should. And clotting will be too little or too much. See? Healing, this is also saying that healing looks different for everyone. Check out this video here. We're going to continue with these stages, and I'm going to go even further with these stages in a minute, but I want you to understand these stages for a minute first. The first stage, like we said, is hemostasis, okay? Your body's natural reaction to injury, to wound, to hurt. And hemostasis stops the bleeding. You get wounded and stuff is pouring out, right? Your hemostasis is off. So something happens that literally triggers the next stage to healing. And that stage 2 is called inflammation. Stage 1, hemostasis, and stage 2, inflammation. Some of you know I have autism. One of my symptoms, my autism, causes me to have overstimulation by things like light and sounds. So, turn down the lights a little bit here, and we shall continue. So, I had to take a break for a minute. This is Living with Disability Healing. I'm living with disability and I'm healing physical and mental disabilities, guys. But as you guys know, some of you guys know I have autism. Yes, you can get degrees and flourish in school even if you have autism. You just have to know that you have to do it differently. That's all. And embrace that different. It might surprise you that other people might start trying to copy you while you're trying to fit into their normal. Give it a try. Change your thinking about it. But I have autism, and for my autism, I get overstimulated from things like lights and sounds. So sometimes I have to sit in a nice dark or warm lit room instead of a bright light, because the bright light was making me antsy and like I had so much, I want to, try to calm this down a wee bit latties and lassies. So we're going to keep moving here. Stage 2 is inflammation. That means swelling. You get inflamed, you see somebody boxing in a boxing ring, and You know, they get a shiner and they get an uppercut to that right eye. You see them at the end of the fight and their eyes all swollen. That's inflammation. That's stage 2. And this is the body's response to injury or infection. The body releases chemicals that trigger what we call an immune response. And this immune response is to fight infection or heal the damaged tissue. But once the injury and the infection is healed, the inflammatory process ends. Okay, this is important. Very important. Just like in trauma, at this stage, things will seem bigger, blown up, and out of proportion. Easier to see the damaged area, though, right? Just like a wound caused by trauma. So the inflammation does a lot of things here. It releases those chemicals, right? And those chemicals help fight the infection, like I said. But the inflammation also, like I said, when it swells up, it starts pushing out all that debris. Remember when you took the fall and you saw all that yucky stuff in there, and it wasn't coming out with the blood. It stayed in there, right? Well, the inflammation is going to push the rest of that out. Everything that was put in you from the trauma is going to get pushed out. It's natural. So then it gets inflamed and it stops the bleeding. So constriction happens and everything is cut off by this constriction. And this constriction causes pain. Do you hear me? Healing causes pain. Healing is painful, right? So that's what happens when something like sexual assault or rape happens. Immediately, you're starting to heal, and that healing causes pain. It's not just the trauma. Healing causes pain. So, homeostasis, inflammation. After inflammation, stage 3 happens. And you're in pain and proliferation begins. And proliferation is a growth period. And it's growing rapidly. And it's growing into new parts or cells, or they're called offsprings, you know? So, just to break it down, you start off like this atom, and then the atom turns into these cells. They form together to create cells. You know, you have the nucleus, you know, the electrons and the neutrons and Krebs cycle, you know, and then all of these cells form together and whoosh, you know, you've got this big mass of growth, and it's called tissues. And these tissues form together and they turn into organs. Like the biggest organ that you have is your first line of defense, your skin, right? And you know, you have all of these organs formed together into this body that is you. So you have a gash, an open wound. You took a hard hit. It's bled out the debris. It got inflamed and it constricted its flow. Everything that is open and unprotected and exposed, your body is sending out more cells to replace the ones that were damaged. Immediately formed to cover that wound, right? Tissues form to cover that wound immediately, right? Not just inflammation and swelling, covering it up, constricting it like the swollen eye of the boxer. Now you have proliferation that causes and ushers in that last stage, maturation. So stage 4, the last stage. Stage 4 is called maturation. And like I said, it's the last stage, but sometimes it's called the remodeling period. Now, the goal of this stage is to strengthen the repair. You see? Even if your wound is closed and it looks healed, after proliferation, the third stage, it still takes time for the skin to become strong and more flexible. And it's the same with inner trauma. It takes 3 years for your body to completely heal after childbirth. 1 child. Let me further explain. Depending on how hard you were hit, how deep the wound is, the most important thing for you to know is that healing looks different for everyone. The proof is here. Because in 3 months, a wound is 80% healed, like it was before the injury. 80%. And this is important. And I'm going to say this, and I want you to take note. Pay attention. In 3 months, a wound is 80% healed before, like it was before the injury, but shall never return to 100%. Hello. You can't return back. Why would you want to? Now, here's when trusting the Most High is the most important part of healing. We don't consider this enough. You can say the Most High, you can say the universe, you can say the Lord Jesus, you can say your higher self, you can say your ancestors, the source. But this is when trust in that is the most important. It's the most important part of healing. So in a sense, it's kind of like graduation, right? Unless you choose to see it as, I'm damned, I'm damaged, and I'm broken forever. When I looked at it that way, it got me so stuck. Listen to me. You're stronger now. You don't want to turn back to your original strength. A lot of people have emotional regularity problems because they're trying to turn back. You're being made new. The strength you have now is being more profound. These cells during homeostasis and proliferation came through for you. They are rebuilding. I know you heard the saying, please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Hey, when God gets through with me. I know y'all know that song. And it's Isaiah 40:29-31. That's the King James Version. We never return to our 100% to our original. This is important, okay? Because it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, right? We look at being damaged and having these wounds on the inside and having all these emotions that we have to deal with it. And all the triggers that come during that reopen the wound. We think that we're not healed. People walk around saying, you're crying when you're telling the story. You're not healed. You shouldn't talk about it. That's just a reopened wound. You're not having emotional regulatory difficulties. And don't look at emotional regulatory difficulties as the end to your healing process. because healing hurts. And you're letting go of you, not just what happened. You're literally being destroyed so that the ground can be tilled and all the roots are going to get pulled out. You're getting constricted and everything that was pouring out of you now gets shut off. You're going through this silencing part, right? You don't want the old you. You want to be made new. We're going to go a little further into this, because I got to say, just wait a minute. Just hold on a second, because wounds can reopen, right? This is important. This is important for people to understand who have emotional regulation difficulties. Wounds reopen. It hurts. And sometimes they don't even reopen, right? You have a wound that's either scabbed over, or you can just see the scar. You have a scar. And through time, the scar gets smaller, right? But every now and then, you might have somebody brush up against it or something brush up against it, and it hurts. Where you get that prickly, numb feeling. It's still gonna hurt. Healed doesn't mean numb. A healed doesn't mean a hardened heart. A hardened heart means that you are not healed, that you need help. Okay, but we're going to keep going here. You were broken down, right? The maturation of healing and trauma. During this time, there's a lot of emotions, right? The rebuilding of your cells, of your spiritual breakdown, not just your physical. Every act of creation begins with an act of destruction. I'm going to give you a quote. And it's from a very famous person you all might know, especially if you like art. Art is good for healing, right? Pablo Picasso. Picasso's words were meant in the context of artistic creation. And he believed that for one to be truly creative, they must destroy their old knowledge and build on a new plane. You mess up the picture, you put some more gesso on and start over again. You might hear it say, in order to build, you must first destroy. The universe has a way of taking these inner wounds and building with them instead of destroying you. You feel like you're being destroyed because you are being broken apart. Okay, this is natural. You not only have stages of wound healing, you have stages of life. Check out Kohlberg and Piaget. I really love Kohlberg's, Everyone has different stages of life, from when you're born to the last stage of life when you're on your deathbed, right? The stage of life when you have identity versus role reversal, All of these things get broken down and built back up throughout your entire life. So it's not just trauma. Don't let the trauma stand as a dominant force. It's something that's being used to build you, to create the person that you're supposed to be before your soul leaves this flesh. You have to remember your soul is older than the body. Your body is temporary. Okay? Let's continue. So now we're going to start talking about what emotions really are. You have the old knowledge being broken down and being built on a new plane. This part of the breakdown is bridged by your emotions. Now, medical science calls this the limbic system. The limbic system is a complex system of nerves and networks in the brain involving several areas near the edge of the cortex, concerned with instincts and mood. And it controls the basic emotions like fear, pleasure, anger, and it drives hunger, sex, dominance, and your care of your offspring, right? Your continuation of your genes. So these emotions, we're going to look at emotions like cells, right? Remember, in homeostasis, proliferation, maturation, inflammation, those cells and maturation and proliferation, they're coming together. The emotions are like that. They're like the cells in proliferation. But for you to really truly understand this, I'm going to break something down to you here. That's what emotions actually are. Because there's what emotions really are. Because there's a misconception that needs to be cleared up before we go any further. Emotions. Okay, so right beside me here, I have this little chart. If you look at the word itself, it tells you exactly what it is. And let's break it down. Let's spell it. E-M-O-T-I-O-N. Emotion. You have the letter E and then the word motion. Let's figure out what the word E is representing, because we know what motion is. It's movement. So what is it movement? What is moving? What is that E stand for? E equals energy. What is an emotion? Energy in motion. Motion meaning movement. So an emotion is nothing but energy that has been put into motion by you. Okay. The emotions are put in gear. Okay, they are moving. They're not stagnant and still. They're always moving. They do have calm points, don't they? They're always moving, but they do have calm points. Energy, electrical currents. Can you take an electricity? Can you go out into a thunderstorm and then lightning comes down, and that's electricity, right? Can you go run out to that lightning and grab a hold of it and say, no, you're not coming back down again. I'm just going to hold you here. No, you can't. It's going to burn you and you'll die. You can't control that emotion. So let's continue so that we can have a better understanding here. Energy, like the electricity that comes from a lightning, from a storm, or you rub your feet across the carpet, right? And then touch the doorknob and get a little shock, a zap, like, or that boost you feel after you eat, to stop your stomach from growling. To stop your stomach from growling, your cell phone, the TV, the microwave. It's all energy. You can barely contain it, let alone control energy. You cannot control energy. It's volatile and unpredictable. Okay. Let's just stop for a minute because we don't know. We do not know its full potential. You can't control energy. You put it into motion. That's not called controlling something. Putting something into motion, we're so scared of being vulnerable and scared of the fact that we have little control here. But grasping that is actually going to give you the control that you're looking for. You put it into motion. No one or nothing else can put it into motion, your allotted amount of energy. Okay, they can influence it, however. Don't forget that. Don't forget that it can't be controlled, but it can be influenced. So don't forget that, and stay focused. Stay focused on the Most High. And listen, people love to try to control the uncontrollable. I say that all the time. Energy is uncontrollable for a reason, and the Most High put it in everything on this planet. So if you can't control it, what do you do? So the best way for me to explain this is to sit down for a minute, close your eyes, and picture a symphony orchestra. You have all the instruments playing, and they're all coming together with this perfect harmony. It sounds like complete chaos until it starts working together, right? And what do you have right in the center of it all but the conductor, right? Conducting, directing all of that energy, all of those notes and tones, right? So you have to learn, much like the conductor, how to direct it. Again, there is no default. Okay, our brains could be compared to, but you're not like a computer. You're not living in default mode. Your default text, and you have to give it direction. Even a computer, you have to input and compute. So emotions, if they get out of control, you're out of control. It's called disorder. And that's how we have illnesses, diseases, syndromes, and conditions, and disorder. There's a difference between them all. And sometimes disorders causes disease. But they're not the same. And a disordered energy is one that is not directed properly. And this can cause disoriented spirituality and prolong your healing process and make emotional regulation difficult. Sometimes reopening wounds. Again, check the link at the end of the video and right here, this video, to learn a method that truly works how to direct your energy for the success of your healing journey. Emotions. The one thing about emotional regulation, because of healing traumatic wounds, is one of the most big things is focus. These emotions, this energy, could have you unfocused if you don't know how to properly direct it. And I'm going to show you. But you may seem so jittery. You might seem like you have literally, absolutely no energy, just zapped of the energy that you have to use to move around. Not just the spiritual energy, the emotion that you put into the energy, but the physical energy that you need to have all of your activities of daily living. Emotional regulatory difficulties can be disabling. And I find that the biggest disabling factor is fatigue and focus. Especially if you have like anxiety, and not being able to focus causes a lot of fatigue. But especially if you have like anxiety, adjustment disorder, right? PTSD, your focus will go off if you have a flashback, if there's a trigger that reopens that wound or makes you relive something. You're always going to have problems with emotional regulation. I mean, come on, everybody does. Everybody has difficulties with emotional regulation. That's another thing that you need to understand. You're not defective. Everybody experiences it. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody sins. And everybody is living in the flesh. And everybody has issues directing their energies and controlling their spirit. So in order for you to be able to do that, we are at the Awakening of Phoenix, Living with Disability Healing, Phoenix Healing Ministries, Living with Disability here on YouTube, also here on YouTube, Health with Life Healing 101. We have this exercise, and I'm just going to get you started. I'm going to make a video furthering this exercise, but just to get you started on it, I've already worked with a few of my members to my ministry on this, and they're breaking ground and having aha moment, and it feels good. It feels good for me, but I know it feels good for them too. But this tool that I'm going to teach you is simple. You don't have to use a real candle if you're concerned for safety. But I have here a real candle, but I also have here a fake one just to show you that you can use both of them. But we're going to do this exercise with this real candle here. Okay, so I have this stand here because you don't want to hold your safety first. Make sure that you have a space where nothing's going to drip down. It's not going to be close to first, okay? This is not for children, but mommies could do it with children as well, okay? All right, so the first thing that you want to do is take a deep breath in through your nostrils and hold it. You want to, when you take a breath in through your nostrils, you want to count 4. 1, 2, 4. And then you hold it, bring the 4 back, 3, 2, 1. And then you release 2, 3, 4. Okay? And when you release, you have to let it go. When that feel the weight, feel the energy. Sometimes the energy might be sticky. I'll make another video about the different energies. If you can get in tune with your body enough, I will help you to do that. It will help you to do that. And then you can be able to understand what I mean when I describe these energies to you. They really do feel this way. Some energies are sticky. Some of them make you sweat. Some of them make you hot. And it's not just anger, like, lust. Some energies are very heavy, just like our thoughts. We know now that thoughts have weight. They have a scent. They have a shape to them, and they have a velocity. They travel at different speeds. Energy is the same way. If you understand the aura, the outsider body, the energy outside of this shell that you're in can stretch out from Cincinnati, Ohio, all the way to Tibet. It is semi-permeable and very flexible, but it can be made to be very hard as well. But to be in tune with it so that you can direct it properly is what this exercise is going to help you do. So, safety first. And we're going to go ahead and take this, okay? We're going to take this candle. Now, actually before, do you remember when you were a child? Let's get you back into that frame of mind. Because I want you to understand, this exercise begins here. Okay? Actually, I'm going to actually correct myself. Because it begins here, this brain. I believe this is the first brain, the heart. It's very close to your stomach, right? it's, some people say, the way to a man's heart is his stomach. The way to anybody's heart is his stomach. You want to feed me, you got my heart. Okay, I'm telling you right now. But, this is the real brain. Okay, this is the real deal right here. But, the brain. just to say, but when you were a child, try to remember. Okay, close your eyes if you have to here. Bring your energy down just a little bit. Lower your tone. I'm not saying vibrate low as in get sad. No. I'm saying bring your energy down. Okay, regulate it. Get it on a plane, a leveled plane. You're going to take a deep breath in. Remember 4 counts in. Here we go. Hand over your heart. Feel your heart beating. And you're going to stay in that moment for as long as you can. And while you stay in that moment, I want you to close your eyes again. I want you to breathe out, actually. I want you to breathe back in. And when you breathe out, I want you to close your eyes. Okay. Rest in that just for a second. Smile. Give it a light smile. Don't get serious here. Keep the mood very light and warm. Now I want you to remember being a child. Don't try to have a childhood memory here. Just remember being a child. I'm going to give you an imagination. I'm going to give you something to picture, to visualize. But I want you to do it in that child's heart, in that child's mind. You're outside and there's leaves everywhere. It's the fall. You feel the cool breeze on your face, but your mother's warm scarf around your neck. It feels so good to keep that scarf around your neck. You can still feel the cool, but the scarf is blocking it, right? You have warm fall jacket on, boots, and there's leaves everywhere. You can smell the leaves and the earth rising up to your face as the breeze passes you by. You look at the beautiful colors of orange and red, the lime greens and the dark hunter greens, the yellows, and you decide to pick one of the leaves up. And what kind of tree is it? What does the leaf look like? Is it rounded? Does it have points on it? Observe that leaf till you see the veins and all of its intricacies and the intricate networks that makes the leaf the beautiful colors from the stem all the way up to the leaf. And feel it. What parts have bumps on it from those veins and which side is smooth? Now take another deep breath in through your nostrils and breathe in for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts and release. When you release, open your eyes back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. So how does that feel? Stay in that moment, okay? You might wake up a little bit with your eyes open, but keep it slow right now. All right, keep it slow. While you're in this, drink some water. Just 1 sip is all you need. You're going to take this candle, or this one, and you're going to light it up or turn it on. When you do that, Oh, it's so pretty. I want you to take a really good look at it before you put it down. Can you hear the sizzle? I don't know if you guys heard it or not. I hope you did. But we're going to take a really good look at this light. And you can see at the bottom there's that beautiful blue hue and those really bright, deep tones of red. And it stretches out into this yellow, orange, white, purpley glow with a little gray on the outside. And then another shell of white around that. And then you can see kind of these circles around on the outside where the light shines, and I can see smoke rising. Do you see your brain is getting plasticity here? You are being active. You are focusing on one thing. And once you're able to do that, you can direct the energy around you. Just if you have trouble with concentration, maybe you have an attention deficit of some kind, this works really good for you as well. But the important thing is to celebrate those little milestones with this. Maybe keep a log. It doesn't have to be big, just one line, date, time, and be consistent with this. Do it on the same day, every week or every month, and at the same time. Call it your me time and be selfish about it, because this is helping you focus, and this is helping you regulate emotions. And the regulation of emotions is important in this world, in this life. To be able to understand your feelings and be able to responsibly respond and not always react improves the quality of your life. And if that's disordered, you have a low quality of life. And that's hard to explain to other people. So not only that, you're in this type of silence that's not healthy. And that silence can isolate you. It can eat away at the inside of you, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So starting with the focus can bring down your anxiety, bring down those PTSD flashbacks. Another thing is I like to put lotion on. If you have problems with flashbacks, I like to put lotion on my hands, with a light scent. Not extremely heavy, but light enough. And if I feel it coming on, like I said, I have candles everywhere. If I feel it coming on, I can smell, I can see, I might have one, of my jars of lotion nearby. I can feel it, right? I can remember how it felt when I put the lotion on. So this helps you if you're having problems with adjustment disorder or like any type of emotional regulation. That focus, it brings down the fatigue. You won't be so exhausted all the time. Okay? The management of it is what we need to do. And while you're being able to manage it, you can also get to the root and not just treat your symptoms, but get to the root and work with that and trust the universe, trust the Most High, the source, trust the Lord Jesus to help you get through it to the other side. Clarity. Okay? And clarity with your emotions, with yourself, being in tune with your body. All right? You deserve that. So how did you guys like that? It's one of my favorite things. I'm really big on candles. They're all over my house. And I'll stop, if I'm going to the bathroom, I've got a candle there. And I'll start focusing on that instead of slipping into a PTSD flashback, instead of slipping into an emotion that's going to have me making wrong decisions or drain my energy and making it difficult to function throughout the entire day. Take advantage of our services. PhoenixHealingMinistries.org. I have meditation and cleansing, that helps you get a fresh start. You can learn how to hear the inner secrets of your soul and its communication with the Most High God, with the universe. And that helps with emotional regulation. Meditation is a great tool. Do you need more? Well, I will tailor a program for you. And it'll be tailored to your specific needs, your disability, your religion or spiritual preference, your school of thought, your way of life, your financial background, okay, your ethnicity and culture, your sexual preference. It is tailored to you. There is not one set anything. And there are prices on there because I'm trying to build. I would love a location. Right now I'm just online. But if you can't afford it, 1-866-985-4325, we work it out. And we don't ask for you to pay it. It's still a ministry. I have a business, the Awakening Phoenix Living with Disability Healing, but it's still a ministry. Okay? If you can't afford it, I'm not going to charge you. Give an honorarium later, make an offering later when you can to help us build, especially if we're actually improving upon your life, which that's the goal. It's not just me healing. We're all doing this together. That's why I have the Facebook group, Private Help with Life Healing 101. And you can flip it around, Healing 101, Help with Life. Also on Instagram, Help with Life Healing 101. Okay? This is what I do. This is what my calling is. I am ordained to do this. I don't think about anything else but this all day, every day. I'm literally eating and sleeping it. I was going to say something else. I'm so glad I caught myself, Excuse me, I'm not supposed to be cursing or saying foul languages. So that doesn't show a good emotional intelligence or a broad vocabulary. And which I have both, so it's not displaying it when I do that. So we're gonna curve that and end it. But if you just want prayer, give us a call. If nobody answers, if I don't answer, leave a message with a phone number. I will call you back. Okay? You don't even have to explain why. If you just need prayer, I will pray with you without you telling me anything. You don't want prayer, you need somebody just to hear, to get it out, because nobody's letting you get all of it out. I'll listen. Okay? So, remember that. This is your journey. You might have regulation difficulties, emotional regulation difficulties. It's still part of your journey. You're not done yet. It's not the end of your healing your trauma because you have emotional regulatory difficulties. You're not defective. It's part of your journey. And the Awakening of Phoenix Living with Disability Healing has a international registered trademark. And it says it is not just your spirituality that can define your journey. It is your journey that can define your spirituality. So hold that head up high. Find ways to break that silence so it doesn't continue to eat you up. We're all brothers and sisters. Let's heal together. Join the private Facebook group. God bless you all. Thank you for joining me.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Awakening of Phoenix Living with Disability Healing. This channel was created to empower those who feel and become unwanted after trauma, to heal through spirituality and improve the quality of their life while living with disability. I want to thank you all for your support. Our trademark is now registered. It is not just your spirituality that can define your journey. It is your journey that can define your spirituality.